With so much rubbish content being spewed into the internet every minute, many content creators struggle with how to create standout content that's interesting and engaging as opposed to irrelevant, self-serving, unoriginal, and plain old boring. Hi, I'm Noya. I'm all about creating standout content that helps businesses grow. And in this video, I'll go through 4 things worth considering before you create a piece of content in the age of content overload. I'll also give you a few quick examples of how you can shift your mindset to give yourself an edge over the millions of marketers out there who are trying to promote their content as well. If you'd like a recap of the points I'll be discussing in this video, you can download the free ebook version, which I'll link to below. Then please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click on the little bell button to make sure you're notified whenever I publish a new one. Okay, let's get to it. Here are 4 things worth considering before you create a piece of content in an already saturated attention economy. With so many marketing gurus swearing by one digital marketing method or another, it's hard to know whether you're a marketing novice or a seasoned pro what to focus your efforts on. But the truth is that a marketing method or channel that works fantastically well for one type of business may not necessarily be as effective for another, especially when you consider that there are different elements in play for each type of business, like the target audience, where they hang out online, their habits and preferences, the type of products you offer, the type of content you need to create to resonate with your audience, and more. But a channel is just the conduit for delivering your message, and it's a playing field that's common to all marketers. What makes one marketer's message resonate more effectively than another's isn't the channel the message appears in, but how well the message is executed to distinguish it from other messages or content competing for attention from the same audience and to achieve your desired response. So how do you convert people once you've convinced them to give you a moment of their time to check out whatever it is you're promoting? By engaging them with content that's clearly superior. Without standout, relevant, and compelling content, you may get people through the door, but you won't be able to get them to stick around so you can successfully deliver your intended message or encourage them to become actual followers or customers. A lot of the time when marketers approach content creation, they're thinking about what they want to say or promote, which is understandable, but unfortunately not enough of us in the content marketing business use an audience-first approach where we think about what sort of content the audience wants more of, or what type of content will float their boat, not ours. The internet is so overcrowded with mediocre, unoriginal, and repetitive content, it's caused audiences to be way more fickle and discerning than ever before about what content they're willing to consume, which brands they're willing to consume it from, and how long they're willing to spend engaging with it. And that goes for both B2C and B2B. So given people's predisposition to ignore anything that feels too promotional or just mediocre, marketers often feel pressure every time they create a new piece of content to make it an extravaganza of delight unlike anything that's come before it. But sometimes all it takes to get someone to appreciate a piece of content isn't your entire bag of tricks, but simply a genuine effort to demonstrate originality either in the concept, the writing, or the visual presentation. Unsurprisingly, audiences have vastly different tastes. While some people delight in watching cute cat videos all day long, others crave sports, news, finance, music, science, fashion, food, etc. So in order for people to not only give a piece of content the time of day, but also engage with it, whether it's sharing it with others on social media, telling a friend about it, downloading or buying something, etc., it needs to be deemed excellent compared with other pieces of content in the same niche. If it's underwhelming by comparison, people won't bother sticking around to consume it in its entirety because underwhelming doesn't cut it in a world where people have become content snobs and generally choose to interact only with content of the highest caliber. But if you gain a reputation for creating content that consistently hits the spot, people will be more inclined to give your content the benefit of the doubt and make an effort to check it out on a regular basis. With infinite content choices and increasingly selective audience preferences, people have become skilled online scanners who don't have time for mediocrity and repetition. So to really wow them, you need a point of difference. There are many elements that make a piece of content stand out and captivate its viewers enough to be considered excellent by comparison to others. Whether it's a blog, post, video, ebook, infographic, podcast, or whatever. If the premise for the content is interesting or useful and the execution is great, it will most likely perform well. But there's a secret ingredient that will make it really pop, and that is a point of difference. If you can bring your own twist, add a different angle, or execute it in a novel way, you will have taken what would probably pass for an okay piece of content to a standout piece of content that will truly wow your viewers. Why do they need to be wowed? Because if most of the content they usually experience is just okay, then by wowing them, you'll instantly set your brand apart and hopefully impress them enough to want more of whatever it is you're promoting. If you're okay with creating something that's just mediocre or too similar to existing content about the same topic, then you better also be okay with the likelihood that people will be inclined to skip it. Or maybe they'll read or watch some of it, but only to the point where they realise they're wasting their time. So how do you add a point of difference? Well, for one thing, you can use visuals. Posts that include visuals help to enhance the story and make for an entirely different user experience that I personally appreciate, so I usually make an effort to add visuals, and I often customize them to inject some of my own personality into the post or video. Everyone's personality is different, so just by infusing your content with your own personality through the writing style or the visuals you choose, it's already different from all other pieces of content that anyone else could create about the same topic. Sometimes you can even use photos of yourself or your team to create a more personal connection with your audience. That personal connection, if you can create it successfully, is part of the secret sauce that makes people prefer your offering to that of your competitors. Number 4, creating content that's different means being creative. But even if you're not naturally oozing with creativity, all you need is just a little tweak to your mindset. A huge part of what goes into creating memorable content is creativity. There are some who might argue that not every topic is interesting enough to inspire creativity, or that not everyone is born with a creativity gene. But neither of those arguments pose a real obstacle to creating excellent content, and here's why. There's no such thing as a boring topic. Only content creators who aren't open to approaching seemingly dull topics with a fresh perspective and treating every piece of content as something viewers will think of as valuable or enjoyable, as opposed to dull and forgettable. A typical piece of content promoting a new product would probably include an article, some images, or a catalogue style video of the product along with product features and a call to action encouraging people to try it or buy it. Right? Boring. The aim isn't to be typical. It's to think of ways to make our content memorable, to boost the viewer's curiosity, make them connect with the brand on a more emotional level, wow them enough to convert them into customers, or at the very least move them further down the sales or engagement funnel. If you weren't born a designer, copywriter, or creative content creator extraordinaire, that's okay. You can still add a point of difference by making a conscious effort to do something different with it. Allow me to demonstrate. Let's, for the sake of example, consider the task of promoting something really ubiquitous, like a new line of umbrellas. Pretty mundane, right? Now let's see how we can jazz up the content and promotion for a humble umbrella. And remember, you can replace umbrellas with any product or service, and it doesn't even matter if it has loads of unique selling points or not. The ideas I'm about to list are examples of how to approach content creation creatively for any product. Introducing the no-brainer. Right, I've just made up a new umbrella brand called the No-brainer. And now, here are 9 content ideas to get people excited about the No-brainer umbrella. Number 1, Talk about the inspiration that led to the creation of the product. Create a piece of content or even a series of pieces about who created the no-rainer and why was he, she, or they compelled to create it. Provide the backstory of how this particular product was conceived. Who are the people behind it? And if it's already an established brand with an interesting history, you can talk about how it evolved over the years. If you give people a chance to get to know the people who created the product, they will have an entirely new perspective of the product itself. Number 2, establish yourself as an authority in your niche by providing some history of the product in general. Create some content about the history of your niche. Who invented the umbrella? Where was the first umbrella used? What did the first umbrellas look like? How have they developed over the years, etc. By demonstrating knowledge of the history of your product, it implies that the product you created, in this case the no-rainer umbrella, must be a quality product and help boost your audience's trust in your brand because it's made by people who obviously know what they're talking about when it comes to umbrellas. Number 3. Is there any meaning behind the branding, logo, design, or name of this particular line of umbrellas? Create content that talks about the genesis of your brand's design. Who came up with the name or the design of the no-rainer umbrella line? Does the design of the logo have any special meaning? The story behind the evolution of the brand and design can add an element of interest and appreciation for the product that people might not have in the absence of this backstory. Number 4. Is there anything interesting worth noting about how the no-rainer is produced that would make it more impressive or give it a point of difference? For example, is there some sort of high-tech or artisan element to the manufacturing process? Are there any special materials used in its construction? If it's interesting, you could create content based entirely around how the product is made or how the service is run if it's a service. You can interview the people who make it and create a video of the production process to give potential buyers an insider behind-the-scenes look at how this cool product is brought to life. Number 5, add social proof or testimonials from satisfied customers. You could pay an influencer or reach out to your own satisfied customers who would be willing to provide a testimonial about why they love the no-rainer so much, preferably with a photo or video of them using the product for extra credibility, and also to give yourself a wider variety of promotional options. Use your social media channels and mailing lists to invite your existing customers to participate, or even take a bunch of no-rainer umbrellas out into the street on a rainy day, offer them to random passers-by to try out, and ask them for a testimonial on the spot, and their permission to be used for marketing purposes, of course. This could make for a great video with possible viral potential. Number 6, announce a fun competition either in honor of the product launch or as an ongoing campaign. This is a great way to create user-generated content, which also acts as another source of social proof, which is incredibly effective for organic promotion. It involves inviting people to post photos or videos of themselves on social media using the no-rainer umbrella in creative poses or funny or unusual locations, and tagging the brand or using the relevant hashtag or handle for a chance to win a prize. Number 7, for a bit of quirky fun, get musical. Create a fun campaign based on a playlist of songs that include the word umbrella or connotations of rain, and make sure the no-rainer brand is prominent in the design of the campaign so that your audience associates it with the no-rainer next time they need to go out and buy an umbrella. Quirkiness and an obvious willingness on your part to have fun with your marketing can be very endearing to your audience, and it'll make your content more memorable. Number 8, when you promote your content on social media, it will almost always be accompanied automatically by an associated feature image. So make sure the feature image you use really pops. The feature image you use for a blog post is generally the one that's automatically displayed when you promote it on social media. So it's essentially part of an ad for your content, and it could make all the difference between someone choosing to click on it or not. So don't just use a typical product shot or a boring stock photo. Think about how you can showcase the product in the most beautiful, eye-catching way, or maybe even an artistic interpretation, or photographed in an awesome location, etc. Think outside the box to create a visual that will be as inviting and as memorable as possible. I've actually created a video featuring my mega list of stock photography websites and other cool image editing tools, so feel free to check it out. I've linked to it below. Number 9. create a series of fun facts about umbrellas to share on social media. People love reading and sharing quirky facts about all sorts of things. So you could create a fun trivia-based campaign using interesting tidbits about your industry or your product. I would also add to the mix a cool piece of trivia about the no-rainer to make sure the piece is associated with my product and not just any umbrella. And you never know, if you execute this type of campaign well, it might even go viral. So there you have it, 9 simple ideas to inspire a creative approach to content creation and turn what might have ended up as a typical piece of content about something as mundane as umbrellas into something more engaging and memorable. None of them require creative genius, just a bit of thinking beyond the predictable and putting yourself in the viewer's shoes. Just think, if you had come across a piece of content about this product or topic, what would it take for it to resonate with you? It all comes down to this. Adding a point of difference or some sort of genuinely creative element to your content will help you stand out in a crowded and competitive attention economy and literally be the difference between making your audience sit up and take notice or boring them to death.